Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum. You are tuning into Her Chronicles on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. Her Chronicles is a radio show where I take a deep dive into womanhood, various aspects of a young woman's life, including her physical, emotional, and social experiences. I'm your host, Maliha Iqbal, and for tonight's radio show, I'll be sharing my outlook so far on my 20s, the lessons I've learned, and the insights into what it means to be an adult. Yes, as soon as you enter your 20s, you are deemed as an adult, which is quite crazy to think because for some reason I still think that I'm 19 and can get away with doing no adult responsibilities at all. But that is life. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned so far, just being in my 20s, is trying to gain a better mindset. Your 20s can be a confusing and at times daunting time in your life. You'll hear the phrase a lot, it's the most important time of your life, so make the most out of it. And you have to have everything figured out and you have to achieve all the things you want to now, because by the time you hit 30s and you have a full-time job, or perhaps you have a job right now, but you won't be able to achieve them, or you're going to have to put your life on hold to have a family, you're going to have other responsibilities. And so there is a lot of pressures that come with being in your 20s. So it's a period of time when we transition from childhood to adulthood. So we're trying to establish ourselves as adults, but with that comes a lot of emotions and challenges, which can be overwhelming. But it's not all bad. I have experienced significant growth since being in my 20s, which is an amazing thing to have already achieved. But at the same time, I've never been more confused about my life or about my path really in life. There is no guide on how to make the most out of your 20s. So it really is kind of a trial and error situation where you want to achieve the things you want to achieve, or you want to get that job, or you want to be in this relationship. But with that is going to come a lot of dedication. It's going to come with a lot of pressures that you already have, because I feel as though when we enter our 20s, we have these sort of perhaps unwanted expectations that are placed on us, even from a young age, where you sort of have to become a better version of yourself, and you have to have a significant amount of growth. And there are just so many expectations that we put on ourselves, other people put on us. And I think that's what contributes to the feeling that I don't want to be an adult, or I just don't want to have I don't want to have to face these expectations, because it's hard for them to come true when there's so many barriers in your way. And so then you're creating a negative mindset, which is not helpful for you at all. But one of the biggest lessons that I've kind of learned so far is the importance of fulfillment. I noticed that when I entered my 20s, I sort of had this lack of fulfillment. I felt that sometimes when I was doing my assignments for university, or I was doing extra activities that would contribute to my career down the line, or I was just trying to gain a lot of things to put on my CV to elevate it. So I was doing all these different tasks and challenges and, getting out of my comfort zone. And I realized that I just didn't feel fulfilled in what I was doing. I didn't feel like I was actually benefiting from the amount of time I was dedicating to trying to grow myself and grow my platform, and really try and get good experience. I felt that I was not feeling fulfilled in any of these obligations. And so I kind of question it to myself, where I asked, well, why are you doing this in the first place? And that's always a great thing to do, is when you come back to it and realize, what even made you want to decide to go down this path? What are you dedicating your time to? Is it valuable? Or is it something you need to say goodbye to? Perhaps there is a new beginning for you elsewhere, but in order to do that, you have to let go of that thing that you were putting a lot of energy and attaching yourself to as well. When we look at things as a chore or obligation, we're not going to feel fulfilled, because our passion and our love is not going into it. So with that, you have to realize, what are the things that you feel fulfilled in? What are the things that make you want to get out of bed every single morning? And enjoy them. Enjoy the little things in life. Try and make the most out of your academic journey. I know it can be quite tedious at times and feel like it's dragging, but not dragging at the same time, because time goes by so quickly. But in your 20s, I get told time and time again that it goes by. It slips through your fingers, and before you know it, you're in your 30s, which, by the way, I have heard are the best times of your life, is when you're in your 30s. I don't know if that's true or not, but inshallah, I can't wait to be there. But for now, I'm going to get through my 20s in the best way possible and create a better mindset for myself, where I know the things that I want to achieve. I sort of visualize the person I want to establish for myself as a young adult. And I need to stop putting so much pressure on myself to have everything in order and to fix all my problems, because if I don't fix all my problems, then they're just going to haunt me all the way into my 30s, and they're not going to get away. And that's another thing as well. I feel as though we put this kind of burden on ourselves, where we have to fix every single problem or relationship or situation. But if it's out of our hands, what can we really do other than leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What will be from that. But don't put this burden on yourself, where you think that if you sort all these problems, it's going to be great, because it's going to make your life a lot more easier. Perhaps you know what path you're going to be on later on in the future, or it's going to make you a better person and you're going to grow and heal, because that's great. Sometimes we can be proactive with our problems and our situations, and other times we can't. And all we can do is really make dua and come to peace with whatever the result is, really. And in that, there is fulfillment, because there is this sense of peace and contentment that you've done everything you can, and you're leaving it in the hands of your creator, and you're just going to focus on the things that you can control. That itself is fulfillment. Another thing that I've really learned so far, being in my 20s, is things are constantly changing. So we have to adapt. But with that comes its own set of problems, because it's not all the time do we really want to adapt to a situation. There are so many things that change in your life, and of course, alhamdulillah, we should view them all as blessings. But there are things that are gonna have perhaps a mental battle with ourselves, really, because I'm not someone who really does well with change. It's something I'm trying to work on. It's a New Year's resolution of mine to be more adaptable. And the best practice is being in your 20s, because you can feel that sometimes you kind of wake up and you think, okay, you know what, I've got this. I've got this going on. And the next day you can wake up and things have completely changed. And it sort of set you back, right? It's not in the direction you want it to be. And so you have to understand that change comes growth, and growth is you reaching a better version of yourself, really. And so we have to be okay with changes and we have to be adaptable. Another lesson that I've learned is friendship. Now, I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, but being in your 20s, of course you have a lot going on. You want to live your life to the fullest. But with that, you kind of do lose contact with your friends, and that's not intentional. At times it can just be that you both live two really busy lives and it's hard to connect with one another at times. But I think if you genuinely have the intentions to want to make your friendship work, and you want to see this person, you want this person to be in your life, perhaps it's an old friend who you grew up with, or a secondary school friend, or a university friend for that matter, and you see a future with you to get with that person in your life, then you have to kind of make the effort to maintain a friendship with this person. Because if you're not seeing each other face to face, communication has to be done via the digital world. And if you're a bad texter, or maybe you just don't like texting, then you should probably make plans to just meet up regularly. Because for those friends who are not great texters, it can be very hard to communicate with them and to kind of see where they're at, really. So you do disconnect with friends, of course, but you also do gain friendships. I found that making friends in your 20s was probably more harder than making friends in like secondary school, which I didn't think was going to be the case, right? Because I figured young adults, they'd be sociable, and they'd be engaging and whatnot. And from what I've gathered is, I think we're kind of so used to being in our own friendship groups and our own circles. And so then that kind of creates a bubble where we don't think to go outside it. We don't think to really go outside our comfort zone if we're already happy with the friendships we have, which is a great thing if you're content in your friendships. But there's always opportunities and rooms to make new friends if you feel that they are worthy of being your friend. And that actually leads me on to my next lesson I've learned is the circle you surround yourself with. Pick wisely the people you want to be in your circle, because the people who are in your circle, you are a form of what your circle looks like, really. So if you're around people who are kind-hearted people, who prioritize their deen, who are going to help you grow and elevate you, then you are on the right path. They can't steer you in a different direction, and they're not going to make you digress, if that makes sense. Whereas if you're surrounded by people who perhaps are negative and a bad influence around you, you may be heading down the wrong path. You will not be becoming a better version of yourself, and you can make questionable choices which weren't really your choices, but because you're influenced, you are just gonna go down a different route, a route that you probably didn't visualize you would have. But yeah, your circle is very, very important, because these are the people that you spend time with. These are the people who you sort of absorb the way they talk, and you pick up on their mannerisms, and it's really hard. It's really weird, because when I'm around a few of my friends, I tend to meet my friends individually, but when I'm around them, I tend to pick up on the way they speak and on the way they sort of conduct themselves as well. And I realize that we do tend to mimic our friends, and we do tend to pick up on the language they use, on the way they are as well, their personality. We pick up on that as human beings. But join me after this nasheed break.
الله الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا رحمن bestow on me your mercy and bless me with your endless bounty, with your endless bounty. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, bestow on me your mercy and bless me with your endless bounty, with your endless bounty. I raise my hands to Allah, the Creator of the world, my only sustainer. I raise my hands to Allah, the Creator of the world, my only sustainer. Ya Allah, I shed my tears and bow to you, hoping you'll answer my prayer. Please answer my prayer. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, bestow on me your mercy and bless me with your endless bounty, with your endless bounty. Ya, 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 ya Allah, ya, 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 ya Allah, ya Allah. Allah, Ya Allah, the world has overwhelmed me. Without you, it's full of hostility. The world has overwhelmed me. Without you, it's full of hostility. Only you have power over all things. Please help me. I need you, Ya Ilahi. I need you, Ya Ilahi. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, bestow on me your mercy and bless me with your endless bounty, with your endless bounty. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, bestow on me your mercy and bless me with your endless bounty, with your endless bounty.
Assalamu alaikum, you are tuning into Her Chronicles, and if you're just tuning in now, I have been discussing being in your 20s, the lessons you've learnt so far, and what it means, my insights into what it means to be an adult. I'm your host, Maliha Iqbal, and you are tuning into Salam Radio 106.2 FM. Going back to what I said about creating and maintaining a better mindset, one thing I did last year which really helped me analyze my strengths and the things I could do to enhance my skills, my character, and just overall give me a better understanding of what I can do to become a better version of myself is I completed a SWOT analysis test. So a SWOT test is basically a test you do to analyze your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So learning how you can capitalize on your strengths, how you can improve your flaws, and also understanding the opportunities that can allow you to grow. And from this, I learned that my strengths I kind of picked up on throughout my university journey, but also skills that I've learned last year that I want to continue to work on. But yeah, it was just really interesting to visually see actually what I do view as my strengths, my weaknesses, what opportunities that are available to me, and what are my threats, what are my barriers that are holding me back from achieving my goals or stopping me from tapping into my strengths more. When doing this, completing the test, I realized the first thing I went to was my threats. And I don't know if that's a common thing that a lot of people do, but I had written down quite a few threats that I obviously had been pondering on for quite a long time. And the fact that I was able to identify my barriers before my strengths really does say something about how much attention and energy I'm giving towards these barriers that are holding me back, rather than focusing more on my strengths, what they could be doing to weigh out the threats, really. But I think it's interesting when you actually do write down or speak aloud your strengths, things you're good at. I always find it hard, really, because I think we're kind of told not to gush about ourselves, or to... it's not so much gushing about yourself, but I find it hard to actually speak about the positive things that I'm actually good at doing, which I don't really know why that is. And I'm definitely trying to capitalize more on my strengths to help me grow and to help me, inshallah, within a future career in journalism or just in my everyday life. But I realized that last year I had a lot of self-doubt, a lot of kind of inner thoughts that were holding me back from just being kinder to myself, really. I thought that if I take myself out my comfort zone, if I start doing things on my New Year's resolution list, then I was automatically growing. But I think in order to grow, we really have to understand your mind and you have to understand your heart. And in order to do so, you have to identify those inner voices and understand the reasonings as to what is holding you back. And for me, it was self-doubt. It was the fact that I didn't really believe in myself. And I think it kind of does stem from childhood that I've kind of brought on to my adulthood that I didn't even realize I was doing constantly in most situations, but definitely in the situations where I felt most nervous, where I just really let that voice cloud my kindness, really. And that is one thing that I've definitely picked up on, I'm now going to work on. But the SWOT analysis test can be very helpful. And yeah, I definitely recommend you do it. Another thing that I've really been doing, and I can't quite remember the name now, but it's basically a sort of diagram which helps you with anxiety. And that is, if you do a small circle, I'm just gonna visualize what I'm saying right now. It's a small circle where it says things I can control, and then a bigger circle that says things that I can influence, and then it was another circle that said things that are out of my control. And this was to do around I created this whenever I feel anxious, and it's basically identifying what your issue is, things you can do to control the situation, things that can influence that situation that can go either way, and things that are completely out of your control. There's no point even worrying about them. And from there, you kind of look inwards on the circles, and you focus more on the things you can control that are going to help you through this, that is going to create a positive mindset for yourself, and you can really take it from there. And that's something that's really helped me as well. We are heading towards a break. Join me after the break, inshallah, where we discuss the lesson of gratitude. Join me after the break. Thank you.
You're listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Isha Azan.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله.
This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Assalamu alaikum. You are tuning into Her Chronicles on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. I'm your host, Maliha Iqbal, and for the last half an hour, I've been discussing so far my journey in my 20s, the lessons I've learned, and my insights into what it means to be an adult. So just before the break, I was discussing how to create a better mindset for yourself and also maintain it by doing a SWOT analysis test, to really listening to your inner thoughts and the inner voices that are holding you back, and identifying your strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats. But now I'm going to be discussing probably the biggest takeaway so far from my 20s, and that is the practice of gratitude. So the human experience is often a mixture of gratitude and sorrow, but gratitude offers contentment in the present moment. So then it allows us to shift our perspective to appreciate even small blessings. So I want you to ask yourself right now, what does gratitude mean to you? Does gratitude mean an outpouring of worship? Does it mean seeking joy through gratitude? Is it something that you identify with every single day, or perhaps something you choose to feel when you're the happiest or the saddest, or when something great has gone your way? And I came across this quote which I think sums up gratitude perfectly, and it says, "It's a past truth that gives us a future hope and a present joy." And I just feel that gratitude captures your pace of life and keeps you in the present. We live such a fast-paced life where it's very much go, go, go on to achieve this, do this. In order to be happy and successful, you must complete all these different steps. But when you really think about it, when you realize what is the things that are important to you and how grateful you are to them, gratitude puts everything into perspective for you. By living a fast-paced life, we tend to feel the power of discontentment, whether it's in your job, in your home, in your relationship. There's always going to be something that perhaps doesn't go your way, or there's a problem and it needs fixing. But I think when we step back and look at the bigger picture, I am sort of overwhelmed by the feeling of gratitude to even have this problem in the first place, or to even be in this situation where my energy is so attached to it, where it shows that I care, and it shows that a lot of passion and love has gone into something. And that itself, I feel gratitude for feeling that way, and for this opportunity to have been given to me in the first place. And it goes back to God is the source of all things. So we can't be mad at a situation or person or feel discontentment when God is the source of all things and everything happens for a reason, right? The culture we live in is about business, being busy, having businesses, living kind of that hustle life. Even the way we consume content is very fast. If you think about it, when you're on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Facebook or whatever social media outlet you use to unwind, but we're skipping through content constantly, and you're looking at a video that is around maybe 1 to 5 minutes, and we don't even have the attention span to watch the whole video through and through. And I'm definitely one of those. I am definitely a person who holds on the screen to get the 2 times the amount of speed, so I can just get through the video and get through the main points that are being shared. But yeah, we consume media the way we tend to consume life at times, which is very fast paced and very much like a go, go, go feeling. But with that, it's going to come discontentment. It's going to be a sense of kind of living mundane life where you don't really look back and really see the blessings in your life, small or big. I'm definitely someone who, when I was, when I felt gratefulness, it came from a place where I was happy if something went my way, or I was happy about something deemed as a bigger blessing. But now I realize that every day on this earth, right now, in this very moment, is just a blessing in itself. To go home, to have a family, to have warm food, to just basic stuff like that we don't even really second guess is a blessing, because not everyone has that. And so perhaps gratitude is an outpouring of worship for me, but it's also how I tap into happiness. I kind of connect the two, because in order to feel happy, you have to feel content. And to feel contentment, it comes from a place of being grateful for what is around you right now, for the things in the present moment and not the past or the future. I'm grateful for the past, because the past has made me the person I am today. It's taught me a lot of lessons. But we can't hold on to the past with all our force, because it's not here anymore. It's gone. All you can focus on is in the present moment, and the same goes for the future. Of course, we can plan ahead, but we are not the planners or planners. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is God's job. And so we can perhaps think about the future, but I feel as though we can't be in a place of gratitude for the future as it hasn't happened yet, as you don't know what will be. But in order to kind of have a more positive mindset about hardships or the barriers that we face in our lives, it has to come up from a place of gratitude, from a place where you can be at peace with yourself about any situation. You can be at peace with yourself for the past, and you can really feel fulfillment in your everyday lives if you count your blessings, and if you take time to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thank him personally as well. That itself is something I'm really trying to work on this year, is to implement dhikr into my daily routine, where I'm taking 5 to 10 minutes out of my day, maybe even longer some days when I need it, but to really find oneness in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to really kind of disconnect from what the world we're in right now and our problems and our obligations, and to just connect from it all and just feel at peace, kind of feel light as a feather, really. But to really try and understand gratitude, you have to kind of take a step out of your life and to count your blessings, and to see gratitude as reaching joyfulness. I asked other people in my family, friends, I asked them what their biggest insights and advice was for being in your 20s. And my friend told me, which she tells me quite frequently as well, is whenever I come to her with a crisis or I need to rant or anything like that, her words are, don't take everything so literally and seriously. It's okay to be unsure about some things. I think that links back to having everything figured out in your life in your 20s. Well, no, because we don't know the hidden, we haven't seen the hidden guide to surviving in this world, right? We are kind of told the principles of being a kind-hearted person and to be patient, to always have sabr, but we can't help but feel so caught up with our problems and trying to fix them because we're human beings and we're not the most patient people. And so you can get so caught up where you lose sight of the bigger picture, and you sort of kind of have to be brought down to earth again, where it's kind of like a touch grass moment where it's okay. I'm just going to leave it at that. What will be, and it's out of my control. So not everything has to be so serious. It's okay. And my sister said, my older sister, she said, don't let embarrassment hold its power over you. And this is something that I can't stress enough. I think I look back at my past and I think, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Why did I say that? And it's that power of embarrassment that is ruining these memories for me. And embarrassment just has so much power over you, where it makes you cringe whenever you think of a memory, or it just makes you have a lot of negative thoughts about yourself, which is not cool. We do not let embarrassment in. And yeah, I also read this quote where it says, run towards embarrassment, not away from it. And I think that's quite a beautiful thing, a beautiful saying, as embarrassment is something we deem as something that is negative and quite a bad moment in our lives, right? But no, I'm not going to let embarrassment hold its power over me anymore, because I'm done feeling embarrassed. There are things I definitely regret, but I'm not going to let embarrassment cloud my judgment, and I'm not going to let it ruin memories for me as well. But we are heading towards the end of the show now. Thank you for tuning into Her Chronicles. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and take care. This has been Her Chronicles, and I'm your host, Maliha Iqbal. Assalamu alaikum.
Allah